Hello there, and welcome to a place where wonder meets whisper, where the mysteries of the mind unfold like gentle petals in moonlight. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight, whether you're settling into bed, curling up in your favorite chair, or simply seeking a moment of quiet curiosity in this beautifully chaotic world we inhabit. Tonight, we're embarking on a journey into one of the most enchanting puzzles that science has ever encountered, a riddle that visits each of us every single night without fail, yet remains as elusive as morning mist. We're diving deep into the realm of dreams, those strange and wonderful stories our minds craft while we sleep, those fleeting theaters of the impossible where we might fly through cotton candy clouds, have tea with our childhood pets, or find ourselves giving an important speech while wearing nothing but our confidence. But before we slip into this dreamy exploration, I'd love to know where in the world you're listening from tonight and what time it is in your corner of the universe. There's something rather magical about the idea that while some of you are drifting towards sleep, others might be greeting the dawn, all of us connected by this shared human experience of dreaming. If you find comfort in these gentle wanderings through the landscapes of science, if these quiet moments of discovery bring you peace or spark your curiosity, I'd be ever so grateful if you'd consider giving this video a gentle thumbs up. Perhaps subscribe to join our little community of midnight explorers, or simply leave a comment sharing what dreams mean to you. Your presence here, your engagement, it helps this sleepy corner of the internet reach others who might need exactly this kind of peaceful pause in their day. Now, I do hope this exploration isn't so fascinating that it keeps you awake when you'd rather be dreaming, but if it does, well, at least you'll drift off with your mind full of wonder about the very process that's about to embrace you. So take a deep breath, let your shoulders soften, and settle in as we begin to unravel one of the most beautiful mysteries your brain creates every single night. Because somewhere between consciousness and slumber, between the rational and the impossible, lies a world that belongs entirely to you. Dreams have captivated humanity since we first began to wonder about the strange stories that dance behind our closed eyelids. Ancient civilizations believed dreams were messages from gods, windows into other realms, or prophecies wrapped in symbolism. The Egyptians had entire temples dedicated to dream interpretation, while the Greeks thought dreams were visits from the spirits of sleep. Indigenous cultures around the world have long honored dreams as sacred journeys of the soul, times when we might commune with ancestors or receive guidance from the natural world. But what exactly is a dream? It sounds like such a simple question, doesn't it? Yet defining a dream is rather like trying to catch moonbeams in a jar. You know it when you experience it, but the moment you try to grasp it, to pin it down with words and definitions, it seems to slip through your fingers like silk. At its most basic level, a dream is a sequence of images, emotions, thoughts, and sensations that occur involuntarily during sleep. It's your mind's own private cinema, complete with plots that would make even the most creative screenwriter scratch their head in bewilderment. Dreams can be vivid and cinematic, filled with rich colors and dramatic storylines, or they can be abstract and fleeting, more like impressions or feelings than actual narratives. What makes dreams particularly fascinating is their complete disregard for the laws of physics, logic, or social convention. In dreams, you might find yourself having a perfectly reasonable conversation with your high school mathematics teacher while riding a unicorn through a grocery store, and somehow, in that moment, it all makes perfect sense. Time bends and folds, people morph into other people, and the impossible becomes not just possible, but utterly mundane. The content of our dreams draws from the vast library of our experiences, memories, fears, hopes, and the random neural firing that occurs as our brains cycle through different stages of sleep. Sometimes dreams feel deeply meaningful, carrying emotional weight that lingers long after we wake. Other times, they're delightfully absurd, the kind of nonsensical adventures that make you chuckle over your morning coffee as you try to explain to someone why you were so concerned about finding matching socks for a giraffe. Modern neuroscience has revealed that dreams are most vivid and frequent during something called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. During this stage, your brain becomes remarkably active, almost as active as when you're awake, while your body becomes temporarily paralyzed. It's as if your mind wants to dance while your body needs to rest, so it creates its own ballroom of imagination where anything can happen. But here's where the mystery deepens. While we know when dreams are most likely to occur, and we can observe the brain activity that accompanies them, the question of why we dream remains beautifully, stubbornly unanswered. Science has given us tantalizing clues, fascinating theories, and remarkable insights, but the complete picture remains as elusive as the dreams themselves. Some researchers believe dreams serve as a kind of mental housekeeping, a time when our brains sort through the day's experiences, filing away important memories and discarding mental clutter. Others suggest dreams are emotional processing centers, spaces where we work through feelings and experiences that might be too overwhelming to handle while awake. There's also the intriguing possibility that dreams are practice sessions, safe spaces where we can rehearse responses to challenges or threats without any real world consequences. Then there are those who propose that dreams are simply the brain's attempt to make sense of random neural activity during sleep, like a storyteller trying to create a coherent narrative from scattered puzzle pieces. In this view, the strange logic of dreams isn't meaningful symbolism, but rather the mind's impressive ability to weave meaning from chaos. What we do know is that dreams are universal. Every human culture that has ever been studied reports dreaming. Even animals appear to dream, their sleeping brains showing similar patterns of activity to ours, their legs twitching as if they're chasing dream rabbits or dream tennis balls through landscapes we'll never see. The act of dreaming seems to be as fundamental to the human experience as breathing or laughing or falling in love. We spend roughly 6 years of our lives dreaming, creating these private worlds that exist only in the theater of our sleeping minds. Yet, for all their universality, dreams remain intensely personal. No two people dream exactly alike, and even your own dreams shift and change throughout your life, influenced by your experiences, your age, your emotional state, and countless other factors. Dreams have inspired countless works of art, literature, and scientific discovery. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein came to her in a dream. Paul McCartney heard the melody for Yesterday in his sleep. The periodic table appeared to Dmitri Mendeleev in a dream, complete and correct. These aren't just charming anecdotes, they speak to something profound about the creative potential that emerges when our conscious minds step aside and allow our deeper wisdom to surface. But dreams aren't always pleasant visitors. Sometimes they arrive as nightmares, bringing fear, anxiety, or sadness into our sleep. These darker dreams can be just as meaningful as their gentler cousins, often reflecting our deepest worries or helping us process difficult emotions. Even nightmares, uncomfortable as they may be, seem to serve important psychological functions, giving us safe spaces to confront our fears or work through traumatic experiences. The mystery of dreams extends beyond their content to their very nature. How does the brain, that 3 pound universe nestled in our skulls, create these rich, immersive experiences from nothing but electrical impulses and chemical reactions? How do we maintain a sense of self within our dreams, experiencing them as real and meaningful, even when they violate every rule of waking reality? And perhaps most intriguingly, why do we often forget our dreams so quickly? You might wake up with a crystal clear memory of an elaborate dream adventure, only to have it fade like morning mist by the time you finish brushing your teeth. The very regions of the brain responsible for forming long term memories seem to be less active during dreaming, which might explain why these vivid experiences so often slip away from us. Some people claim they never dream, but research suggests this isn't quite accurate. It's more likely that they simply don't remember their dreams. The ability to recall dreams varies greatly from person to person and can be influenced by factors like how quickly you wake up, your sleep patterns, and even your personality type. Those who wake up gradually and spend a few moments in that drowsy space between sleep and waking are more likely to capture their dreams before they fade. The study of dreams has led us into fascinating territories of consciousness, memory, and the nature of reality itself. When we dream, are we conscious? We seem to experience thoughts, make decisions, and react emotionally within our dreams, yet we're not aware that we're dreaming. This paradox has puzzled philosophers and scientists for centuries and continues to inform our understanding of what consciousness really means. There's also the remarkable phenomenon of lucid dreaming, where the dreamer becomes aware they're dreaming while still remaining asleep. In these states, people can sometimes direct their dreams, choosing to fly, transform their dream environment, or confront fears in a safe, controlled setting. Lucid dreaming suggests that consciousness isn't simply on or off, but exists in various shades and degrees, adding another layer of complexity to the mystery of dreams. As we stand at the threshold of this exploration, it's worth noting that dreams remind us of something beautiful about being human. In a world that often demands logic, efficiency, and clear answers, dreams celebrate the mysterious, the symbolic, the emotionally rich. They remind us that there are aspects of our minds that remain wonderfully wild and untamed, spaces where creativity and intuition can flourish without the constraints of waking logic. Tonight, as we begin to unpack the science behind these nightly adventures, remember that every answer we uncover seems to reveal new questions. Each insight opens new avenues of wonder. The more we learn about dreams, the more remarkable they become, and the more we appreciate the incredible complexity and beauty of the sleeping mind. So, as we prepare to dive deeper into this exploration, to examine the stages of sleep where dreams are born, to understand the brain regions that craft these midnight movies, and to explore the theories that attempt to explain why we dream at all. Remember that you are about to learn about one of the most intimate and universal aspects of human experience. Every night, without fail, your brain creates worlds that exist nowhere else in the universe, stories that are yours and yours alone, adventures in the landscape of consciousness that science is only beginning to understand. To truly understand dreams, we must first understand sleep itself, that mysterious state we surrender to every night without a second thought. You might think of sleep as simply the absence of wakefulness, like turning off a light switch in your mind, but the reality is far more intricate and beautiful. Sleep is not a single, uniform state, but rather a carefully orchestrated symphony of brain activity, a nightly journey through distinct landscapes of consciousness that your mind navigates with the precision of a master conductor. Think of sleep as having its own geography, complete with valleys and peaks, quiet meadows, and bustling cities of neural activity. Scientists have mapped this terrain into what they call sleep stages, each with its own unique characteristics and purpose. These stages cycle through the night like movements in a musical composition, each one preparing the stage for the next, building toward those moments when dreams bloom in the darkness of your sleeping mind. The journey begins as you settle into bed, perhaps after reading a few pages of a beloved book or listening to the gentle sounds of evening settling around your home. Your brain starts to shift gears, moving away from the beta waves of active wakefulness toward the slower, more relaxed alpha waves. This is the twilight zone of consciousness, that drowsy space where thoughts become softer and reality begins to blur around the edges. Stage one of sleep is like wading into a warm, shallow pool of consciousness. You're still somewhat aware of your surroundings, still tethered to the waking world, but your grip on alertness is loosening. Your muscles begin to relax, your breathing becomes more regular, and your brain waves slow into what scientists call theta rhythms. This is often when you might experience those sudden jerking movements called hypnic jerks, moments when your body seems to startle itself awake. These aren't cause for concern, they're simply your nervous system's way of double checking that everything is ready for the deeper journey ahead. If someone were to wake you during this first stage, you might insist you weren't really sleeping at all, and in a sense, you'd be right. This is sleep's antechamber, the gentle transition space between the bustling activity of day and the deeper restoration that awaits. As you drift deeper, you enter stage two, a realm that encompasses roughly half of your entire night's sleep. Here, your brain begins to show some truly fascinating patterns. Sudden bursts of brain activity, called sleep spindles, appear on monitoring equipment, looking like little fireworks of neural energy. These spindles, along with formations called K complexes, act like guardians of your sleep, helping to keep external disturbances from waking you. That car door slamming outside your window, or the gentle hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, these sounds are gently filtered and processed, usually allowing you to continue your peaceful journey undisturbed. Your body temperature begins to drop during this stage, and your heart rate settles into a slower, more restful rhythm. You're definitely asleep now, no longer hovering at the edges of consciousness, but settling more deeply into the restorative embrace of genuine rest. But the most profound transformation occurs as you descend into stage 3, often called deep sleep or slow wave sleep. Here, your brain produces the slowest, most powerful waves it will create all night, delta waves that roll through your mind like gentle ocean swells. This is sleep's master craftsman at work, the stage where your body focuses on repair and restoration with remarkable efficiency. During deep sleep, your brain becomes a bustling factory of healing and maintenance. Growth hormone is released, helping to repair tissues and build muscle. Your immune system strengthens its defenses, preparing to fight off tomorrow's challenges. Memory consolidation begins in earnest as your brain sorts through the day's experiences, deciding what to keep, what to file away, and what to quietly discard. Children spend more time in deep sleep than adults, which makes perfect sense when you consider how much growing and learning they're doing. For adults, deep sleep remains crucial for physical recovery and mental clarity. It's during this stage that you're most difficult to wake, and if someone does manage to rouse you from deep sleep, you'll likely feel groggy and disoriented, as if you've been pulled back from a very distant place. Interestingly, some dreaming does occur during deep sleep, but these dreams tend to be quite different from the vivid, story like dreams we typically remember. Deep sleep dreams are often more like fragments, brief impressions or emotions, rather than the elaborate narratives that unfold during other stages of sleep. As the night progresses, you begin to cycle back through lighter stages of sleep, eventually arriving at the stage that holds the most fascination for dream researchers and dreamers alike. This is REM sleep, named for the rapid eye movements that characterize this remarkable state. During REM, your closed eyes dart back and forth as if you're watching an invisible tennis match, following the action of dreams that can be as vivid and emotionally rich as any waking experience. REM sleep presents us with one of the most beautiful paradoxes in all of neuroscience. Your brain becomes almost as active as it is when you're awake, sometimes even more so. Blood flow to the brain increases, your heart rate quickens, and your breathing becomes more irregular. Yet at the same time, your body enters a state of temporary paralysis, unable to move except for the diaphragm that keeps you breathing and the tiny muscles that control those characteristic rapid eye movements. This paralysis isn't a malfunction, it's a brilliant safety feature. Without it, you would act out your dreams, potentially putting yourself and anyone sharing your bed in danger. Your brain essentially disconnects the motor signals that would normally move your muscles, creating a safe space where your mind can explore any scenario without physical consequences. Occasionally, this system doesn't work perfectly, leading to a condition called REM sleep behavior disorder, where people do act out their dreams. But for most of us, this paralysis works flawlessly night after night. The proportion of time you spend in each sleep stage changes throughout the night in a pattern that's both elegant and purposeful. Early in the evening, you spend more time in the deeper stages of non-REM sleep, focusing on physical restoration and the initial phases of memory processing. As the night progresses toward morning, REM periods become longer and more frequent, sometimes lasting up to an hour as dawn approaches. This shifting pattern explains why dreams often feel more vivid and memorable in the early morning hours. You're not imagining it. Your brain really is creating more elaborate, emotionally rich dreams as the night wears on. It's also why you're more likely to remember a dream if you wake up naturally rather than being jolted awake by an alarm clock. You're more likely to wake up during or just after a REM period when dream activity is at its peak. The entire sleep cycle, from the first drowsy moments of stage one through the deepest valleys of slow wave sleep and up to the peaks of REM, takes roughly 90 minutes to complete. You'll cycle through this pattern 4 to 6 times each night, like a gentle roller coaster ride through different states of consciousness. Each cycle is unique, with the proportions of different stages shifting as the night progresses, creating a personalized journey through the landscape of sleep that's tailored to your individual needs for restoration and dreaming. Understanding these cycles helps explain some of the mysteries of sleep and dreaming. Why do you sometimes wake up feeling refreshed after just a few hours of sleep, while other times you feel groggy after a full 8 hours? It often depends on which stage of sleep you're in when you wake up. Waking during a light sleep stage feels natural and refreshing, while being roused from deep sleep can leave you feeling disoriented and tired. The architecture of sleep also reveals why maintaining consistent sleep schedules is so beneficial for dream recall and overall sleep quality. Your brain thrives on routine, and when you go to bed and wake up at regular times, your sleep cycles can optimize themselves, ensuring you get the right balance of restorative deep sleep and dream rich REM sleep. Temperature plays a crucial role in this nightly journey as well. Your body's core temperature naturally drops as you prepare for sleep, signaling to your brain that it's time to begin the descent into deeper states of consciousness. This is why a cool bedroom often promotes better sleep, and why a warm bath before bed can be so relaxing. The cooling that occurs after you leave the bath mimics and enhances your body's natural temperature rhythm. The timing of when you eat, exercise, and expose yourself to light also influences these delicate cycles. Light, particularly blue light from screens, can suppress the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate your sleep wake cycle. Exercise can enhance deep sleep, but if done too close to bedtime, it might interfere with your ability to fall asleep initially. As we explore the stages of sleep, it becomes clear that dreaming doesn't exist in isolation. It's intimately connected to this broader symphony of sleep, emerging from specific stages and brain states like flowers blooming in a carefully tended garden. The non REM stages prepare the soil, so to speak, processing memories and emotions, while REM sleep provides the perfect conditions for the elaborate, story like dreams that capture our imagination. Each night, without your conscious effort or awareness, your brain orchestrates this incredible journey through different states of consciousness. It's a testament to the remarkable sophistication of the sleeping mind, a reminder that even in rest, your brain is actively working to maintain your physical health, process your experiences, and create the mysterious, beautiful phenomenon we call dreams. The more we understand about sleep stages, the more we appreciate the intricate dance between consciousness and unconsciousness that plays out in bedrooms around the world every single night. It's a dance that's been perfected over millions of years of evolution, fine tuned to serve the complex needs of the human brain and body. Tonight, as you prepare for your own journey through these stages, remember that you're participating in one of the most ancient and essential rhythms of life itself. Your brain knows exactly how to navigate this nightly odyssey, cycling through states of consciousness with the wisdom of countless generations, preparing the perfect stage for the dreams that are waiting to unfold in the theater of your sleeping mind. Now that we've explored the stages of sleep, let's turn our attention to the remarkable theater where dreams come to life, the intricate neural orchestra that transforms electrical impulses and chemical signals into the vivid stories that dance behind your closed eyelids each night. The dreaming brain is a marvel of coordination, a symphony of regions working together to create experiences that can feel more real than reality itself. To understand how dreams emerge from the landscape of your sleeping mind, we must first appreciate that your brain never truly rests. Even in the deepest sleep, it remains a bustling metropolis of activity, with different neighborhoods lighting up and quieting down in carefully choreographed patterns. During REM sleep, when the most vivid dreams occur, this activity reaches a crescendo that rivals the complexity of your waking consciousness. At the heart of this nocturnal performance lies the brainstem, that ancient and essential structure that connects your brain to your spinal cord. Think of the brainstem as the conductor of your dream orchestra, initiating the cascade of events that transform sleep into the realm of dreams. It's here that specialized neurons begin firing in patterns that trigger the characteristic rapid eye movements and set the stage for the elaborate productions that are about to unfold. The brainstem sends signals racing upward through your brain, activating regions that have been quietly resting during the deeper stages of sleep. These signals, called PGO waves, travel from the pons through the lateral geniculate nucleus and finally reach the occipital cortex, your brain's primary visual processing center. It's a bit like turning on the projector in a cinema, preparing the screen for the visual feast that's about to begin. Your visual cortex, located at the back of your brain, becomes remarkably active during REM sleep, creating the rich imagery that fills your dreams. This explains why dreams are predominantly visual experiences, filled with landscapes, faces, objects, and scenes that can be breathtakingly detailed. Even people who have been blind since birth report visual experiences in their dreams, suggesting that the visual cortex can create imagery that transcends our waking sensory limitations. But dreams are far more than just pretty pictures flickering in the darkness of your sleeping mind. They carry emotional weight, narrative structure, and often profound meaning. This is where other regions of your brain join the performance, each contributing their own unique instruments to the dreaming symphony. The limbic system, your brain's emotional center, becomes particularly active during REM sleep. The amygdala, those two almond shaped structures deep within your brain that process fear, pleasure, and other intense emotions, lights up like a Christmas tree during dream states. This heightened emotional activity explains why dreams can feel so emotionally charged, why a dream about losing someone you love can leave you waking with tears on your cheeks, or why a dream of flying can fill you with such pure joy that it lingers throughout the following day. The hippocampus, Your brain's master librarian, responsible for memory formation and recall, also plays a crucial role in the dreaming process. It reaches into the vast archives of your experiences, pulling out fragments of memories, faces from the past, places you've been, emotions you've felt, and weaving them together in novel combinations. A childhood friend might appear in your dream, but now they're your colleague at work. Your grandmother's kitchen might serve as the setting for a conversation with someone you met just yesterday. The hippocampus provides the raw materials for dreams, the building blocks from which your sleeping mind constructs its nightly narratives. Interestingly, while the hippocampus is active in supplying memories for dreams, it's not functioning at full capacity when it comes to forming new memories of the dream experience itself. This explains one of the most frustrating aspects of dreaming, why these vivid, meaningful experiences so often slip away from us, like water through our fingers. The very mechanism that would normally encode these experiences into long term memory is operating at reduced capacity, making dreams notoriously difficult to remember unless we wake up during or immediately after them. The prefrontal cortex, that sophisticated region behind your forehead responsible for logical thinking, planning, and reality testing, presents one of the most fascinating aspects of the dreaming brain. During REM sleep, this area shows dramatically reduced activity compared to waking states. It's as if your brain's internal editor, the voice that normally says, wait, that doesn't make sense, or that's impossible, has stepped out for a coffee break. This temporary reduction in prefrontal activity explains the dreamlike logic that governs our sleeping narratives. In dreams, you can fly without questioning the physics, converse with long deceased relatives without wondering how they got there, or find yourself back in school taking an exam for a class you never attended, and somehow it all seems perfectly reasonable. Your brain's fact checker has temporarily clocked out, allowing for the kind of creative, unconstrained thinking that makes dreams such fertile ground for innovation and problem solving. The temporal lobes, located just above your ears, also contribute significantly to the dreaming experience. These regions process auditory information and help integrate memories with emotions. During dreams, they help create the soundscape of your sleeping narratives, the voices of dream characters, the music that might accompany a dream sequence, or the ambient sounds that give context to dream environments. One of the most remarkable aspects of dreaming brain activity is how it manages to create a sense of self within the dream narrative. Despite the reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, you maintain a sense of identity within your dreams. You recognize yourself as the protagonist of these sleeping stories. You make decisions, react emotionally, and maintain a consistent sense of being you, even when the dream version of you might be doing things the waking you would never consider. This sense of self in dreams involves complex interactions between multiple brain regions, including areas involved in self awareness, body perception, and personal identity. It's a testament to how deeply ingrained our sense of self is in our neural architecture that it persists even in the altered state of consciousness we call dreaming. The motor cortex, responsible for controlling voluntary movements, presents another fascinating paradox of the dreaming brain. While your body lies still and paralyzed during REM sleep, your motor cortex can be quite active, sending signals for the movements your dream self is making. You might dream of running, dancing, or gesturing emphatically during a dream conversation, and your motor cortex is firing the appropriate patterns for these movements. The only reason you don't actually move is because of the temporary paralysis that keeps your body still while your mind adventures. The neurotransmitters, those chemical messengers that allow brain cells to communicate with each other, also play crucial roles in creating and modulating dreams. During REM sleep, levels of certain neurotransmitters change dramatically. Acetylcholine, which plays important roles in attention and arousal, increases significantly during REM sleep, contributing to the vivid, attention grabbing quality of dreams. Meanwhile, other neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, serotonin, and histamine decrease to very low levels during REM sleep. These chemicals are associated with logical thinking, impulse control, and reality testing when we're awake. Their reduction during dreaming states may contribute to the bizarre, emotionally intense, and often illogical nature of dreams. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, reward, and motivation, remains active during REM sleep, which might explain why dreams can feel so engaging and meaningful, even when their content is completely fantastical. Your brain's reward system is telling you that this dream experience matters, even if your logical mind would dismiss it as nonsense. The communication between different brain regions during dreaming is also remarkably complex. Rather than working in isolation, these various areas are constantly sending signals back and forth, creating feedback loops that can amplify certain aspects of the dream experience while suppressing others. A memory retrieved by the hippocampus might trigger an emotional response from the amygdala, which in turn influences how the visual cortex renders the dream imagery, creating a cascading effect that shapes the entire dream narrative. Temperature regulations in the brain also plays a subtle but important role in dreaming. During REM sleep, your brain's ability to regulate temperature is temporarily reduced, which might contribute to the sometimes surreal quality of dreams. Some researchers suggest that these slight temperature fluctuations might influence the types of neural networks that are active during dreaming, contributing to the unique characteristics of dream consciousness. The glymphatic system, your brain's waste clearance system, remains active during sleep, helping to clear metabolic waste products that accumulate during waking hours. While this process is most active during deep sleep, it continues during REM sleep, ensuring that your brain maintains optimal conditions for the complex neural activity that generates dreams. What emerges from this intricate dance of brain regions, neurotransmitters, and neural networks is something truly remarkable, a form of consciousness that is simultaneously familiar and alien, personal and universal, meaningful and absurd. Dreams represent a unique state of awareness where the normal rules of perception, logic, and physics are suspended, replaced by a more fluid, emotionally driven form of experience. The dreaming brain demonstrates the incredible plasticity and creativity of human consciousness. It shows us that our minds are capable of generating rich as immersive experiences entirely from internal resources without any input from the external world. In dreams, we become the writer, director, producer, and star of our own private films, creating narratives that can be more emotionally impactful than many waking experiences. Understanding the neural basis of dreams also helps us appreciate why dream experiences can feel so meaningful and transformative. When multiple brain systems work together to create these experiences, when emotions, memories, sensory processing, and narrative construction all contribute to a single dream, the result can feel profoundly significant, even if the content seems bizarre upon waking. The dreaming brain also reveals something beautiful about the nature of consciousness itself. It suggests that awareness is not a simple on off switch, but rather a spectrum of different states, each with its own characteristics and possibilities. Dreams occupy a unique position on this spectrum, offering a form of consciousness that is neither fully awake nor completely unconscious, but something wonderfully in between. As we continue to study the dreaming brain with increasingly sophisticated tools and techniques, we're discovering new layers of complexity and beauty in these nightly journeys through altered consciousness. Each discovery raises new questions about the nature of mind, memory, and meaning, reminding us that even as we sleep, our brains continue to surprise and inspire us with their remarkable capabilities. Tonight, as you prepare to surrender to sleep and dreams, remember that you're about to participate in one of the most sophisticated productions your brain is capable of creating. Behind your closed eyelids, an entire cast of neural networks will spring into action, working together to craft experiences that exist nowhere else in the universe except in the private theater of your sleeping mind. Now that we've explored the intricate neural symphony that creates our dreams, let's turn our attention to one of the most compelling questions in all of sleep science. Why do we dream at all? It's a question that has puzzled humanity for millennia, and despite decades of research and increasingly sophisticated tools for peering into the sleeping mind, the answer remains beautifully, mysteriously elusive. You might think that after all our advances in neuroscience, after mapping the brain regions involved in dreaming and understanding the complex choreography of sleep stages, we would have a definitive answer to this fundamental question. But dreams, it seems, are not so easily explained. They exist at the intersection of biology and meaning, of neural firing patterns and narrative structure, of scientific observation and deeply personal experience. What we do have are theories, each one offering a different lens through which to view these nightly adventures. Some of these theories focus on the practical, suggesting that dreams serve essential biological functions. Others delve into the psychological, proposing that dreams help us process emotions and experiences. Still others venture into the realm of creativity and problem solving, suggesting that dreams are workshops where innovation is born. Perhaps the most widely discussed theory is that dreams serve as a kind of mental filing system, a time when your brain sorts through the avalanche of information it has collected during your waking hours. Imagine your mind as a vast library, and during the day, books, papers, and documents are constantly being brought in and stacked haphazardly on tables and floors. Dreams, in this view, are the nighttime librarians, working quietly while you sleep to organize these materials, deciding what deserves a permanent place on the shelves, what should be moved to storage, and what can be safely discarded. This memory consolidation theory is supported by fascinating research showing that people who are deprived of REM sleep often struggle with learning and memory formation. Students who get adequate REM sleep after studying tend to perform better on tests than those who don't. Musicians learning new pieces show improved performance after nights rich in REM sleep. It's as if the dreaming brain takes the day's lessons and rehearses them, strengthening the neural pathways that encode important information. But memory consolidation alone doesn't fully explain the bizarre, emotional, and often nonsensical nature of many dreams. Why would your brain need to create elaborate stories about flying elephants or conversations with historical figures just to file away memories? This is where other theories step in to fill the gaps. The emotional processing theory suggests that dreams serve as a kind of psychological workshop, a safe space where your mind can work through complex feelings and experiences without the constraints and consequences of waking life. In dreams, you might confront fears you haven't acknowledged, explore relationships in new ways, or rehearse responses to challenging situations. The intense emotional activity we see in the dreaming brain supports this idea, suggesting that dreams aren't just about information processing, but about emotional digestion. Think about those dreams where you find yourself back in a stressful situation from your past, perhaps giving a presentation at work or taking an exam you're unprepared for. Rather than being random neural noise, these dreams might represent your mind's attempt to process and integrate difficult emotions, to find resolution or understanding in experiences that left you feeling unsettled. This emotional processing function of dreams becomes particularly apparent in people who have experienced trauma. Many individuals with post traumatic stress disorder report intense, recurring dreams related to their traumatic experiences. While these dreams can be distressing, some researchers suggest they represent the mind's attempt to process and integrate overwhelming emotions and memories, to gradually reduce their emotional impact through repeated exposure in the safe space of sleep. Then there's the threat simulation theory, which proposes that dreams evolved as a kind of virtual reality training system for our ancestors. According to this view, dreams allow us to practice responses to dangerous or challenging situations without any real world risk. The dream where you're being chased might be your brain's way of rehearsing escape strategies. The dream where you're lost might be practicing navigation and problem solving skills. This theory is particularly intriguing when you consider that many dreams do involve threatening or challenging situations. We dream of being chased, of falling, of being unprepared for important events, of losing loved ones. If dreams were purely random, you might expect a more even distribution of pleasant and unpleasant scenarios. The prevalence of challenging dream content suggests that our sleeping minds might indeed be running us through various simulations, preparing us for the complexities of waking life. The creative problem solving theory offers yet another perspective on why we dream. This view suggests that dreams provide a space where the normal constraints of logical thinking are relaxed, allowing for novel connections and innovative solutions to emerge. The reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex during REM sleep, rather than being a bug in the system, might actually be a feature, temporarily disabling our internal critic and allowing for more creative, unconstrained thinking. History is filled with examples of scientific discoveries, artistic creations, and innovative solutions that reportedly came through dreams. Beyond the famous examples of Kekule's benzene ring and Mendeleev's periodic table, countless individuals have reported waking up with solutions to problems that had stumped them while awake. The dreaming mind, freed from the rigid rules of logic and possibility, can make connections that the waking mind might dismiss as impossible or impractical. There's also the intriguing possibility that dreams serve a social function, helping us understand and navigate the complex world of human relationships. Many dreams involve interactions with other people, often in emotionally charged or socially complex situations. These dream interactions might serve as a kind of social rehearsal, allowing us to explore different ways of relating to others, to practice empathy and understanding, or to work through relationship conflicts in a safe, consequence free environment. Some researchers have proposed that dreams help maintain our sense of self and personal identity. In dreams, despite all the bizarre circumstances and impossible scenarios, we maintain a consistent sense of being ourselves. We react to dream events based on our personalities, values, and emotional patterns. This continuity of self through the altered state of dreaming consciousness might help reinforce and stabilize our sense of identity, ensuring that we wake up each morning with a coherent sense of who we are. The activation synthesis hypothesis offers a more mechanistic explanation for dreaming. According to this theory, dreams are simply the brain's attempt to make sense of random neural activity that occurs during REM sleep. The brainstem generates chaotic patterns of electrical activity, and the higher brain regions, particularly the cortex, try to impose meaning and narrative structure on these random signals. In this view, the strange logic of dreams isn't meaningful symbolism, but rather the mind's impressive ability to create coherent stories from incoherent input. This theory explains many of the bizarre characteristics of dreams: the sudden scene changes, the impossible physics, the morphing characters. If dreams are indeed the brain's attempt to create narrative from random neural firing, then these inconsistencies make perfect sense. Your mind is doing its best to tell a story with constantly changing, unpredictable source material. However, the activation synthesis hypothesis has been challenged by research showing that dream content isn't entirely random. Dreams often reflect our daily concerns, emotional preoccupations, and recent experiences in ways that suggest more purposeful processing than random activation would predict. The content may be bizarre, but it's not entirely meaningless. More recent theories have attempted to integrate multiple functions, suggesting that dreams serve several purposes simultaneously. Perhaps dreams consolidate memories while also processing emotions, practice problem solving while also maintaining social connections, create meaning from neural activity while also preparing us for future challenges. The complexity of the dreaming brain suggests that these nightly experiences might indeed serve multiple functions, each contributing to our overall mental health and cognitive function. The default mode network theory offers another fascinating perspective on dreaming. This network of brain regions becomes active when we're not focused on specific tasks, when our minds are wandering or at rest. Some researchers suggest that dreams represent an extreme version of this default mode activity, a time when the mind is free to make associations, explore possibilities, and integrate information without the goal directed focus of waking consciousness. There's also growing interest in the idea that dreams might serve a detoxification function, not just for memories and emotions, but for the brain itself. During sleep, the brain's waste clearance system becomes more active, flushing out metabolic byproducts that accumulate during waking hours. Some researchers speculate that the intense neural activity of REM sleep and dreaming might be part of this cleaning process, helping to maintain optimal brain function. The question of why we dream becomes even more intriguing when we consider individual differences in dreaming patterns. Some people report vivid, frequent dreams, while others claim rarely to dream at all. Some individuals have highly emotional dreams, while others describe more mundane dream content. These differences might reflect variations in what each person's brain needs to process, consolidate, or explore during sleep. Age also plays a fascinating role in dreaming patterns. Children and adolescents spend more time in REM sleep than adults, and their dreams tend to be more imaginative and fantastical. As we age, our REM sleep decreases, and our dreams often become more realistic and less bizarre. This change might reflect the shifting needs of the developing versus mature brain, with younger minds requiring more creative exploration and older minds focusing more on consolidation and maintenance. Cultural factors also influence dream content and interpretation, suggesting that while the biological function of dreaming might be universal, the meaning and significance we assign to dreams is deeply shaped by our social and cultural contexts. Some cultures view dreams as prophetic or spiritually significant, while others see them as merely biological processes. These different perspectives might actually influence how dreams affect us and what functions they serve in our lives. The study of lucid dreaming has added another layer to our understanding of why we dream. In lucid dreams, where the dreamer becomes aware they're dreaming while still asleep, people can sometimes direct their dream content and explore their dream worlds with intention. This phenomenon suggests that dreams might serve as a kind of virtual reality space where we can safely explore scenarios, practice skills, or work through challenges with a degree of conscious control. Some researchers have even suggested that dreams might serve an evolutionary function at the species level, not just for individuals. The creative, boundary pushing nature of dreams might contribute to human innovation and adaptability, helping our species generate novel solutions to new challenges. In this view, the seemingly useless and bizarre nature of many dreams might actually be a feature, not a bug, providing a space for mental experimentation that occasionally yields breakthrough insights. The question of why we dream also intersects with broader questions about consciousness and the nature of mind. Dreams demonstrate that our brains can create rich, immersive experiences without any external input, suggesting remarkable capacities for internal simulation and narrative construction. Understanding why we dream might help us understand consciousness itself, revealing something fundamental about how awareness emerges from neural activity. As we continue to develop new technologies for studying the brain, from advanced neuroimaging techniques to artificial intelligence systems that can decode neural patterns, we're getting closer to unraveling the mystery of why we dream. But each new discovery seems to reveal additional layers of complexity, reminding us that dreams exist at the intersection of biology, psychology, creativity, and meaning. Perhaps the most honest answer to why we dream is that we don't yet know for certain, but we're beginning to appreciate that the question itself might be more complex than we initially thought. Rather than having a single function, dreams might serve multiple purposes, acting as memory consolidators, emotional processors, creativity workshops, social rehearsal spaces, and meaning making mechanisms all at once. What we can say with confidence is that dreaming appears to be essential for optimal mental and emotional functioning. People deprived of REM sleep show deficits in learning, memory, emotional regulation, and creative thinking. Dreams, whatever their ultimate purpose, seem to be necessary for maintaining the delicate balance of the human mind. The mystery of why we dream reminds us that despite all our scientific advances, there are still profound questions about human nature that remain unanswered. Dreams occupy a unique space in our understanding of ourselves, bridging the gap between the measurable and the meaningful, between neural activity and narrative experience, between the biological and the poetic. Tonight, as you prepare to embark on your own journey into the world of dreams, remember that you're participating in one of the most fundamental and mysterious aspects of human experience. Whether your dreams serve to consolidate memories, process emotions, solve problems, or simply create meaning from the chaos of neural activity, they represent something uniquely and beautifully human, a nightly reminder of the remarkable creativity and complexity of the sleeping mind. The question of why we dream may never have a simple answer, and perhaps that's as it should be. Some mysteries are meant to be lived rather than solved, experienced rather than explained. Dreams remind us that there are aspects of human consciousness that transcend our current understanding, spaces where science and wonder meet in the quiet darkness of the sleeping mind. As we delve deeper into the enigma of dreams, we encounter yet another layer of mystery that has captivated researchers and dreamers alike: the curious phenomenon of lucid dreaming. Imagine, if you will, finding yourself in the middle of a dream, perhaps walking through a forest of silver trees under a sky painted in impossible shades of purple, when suddenly a gentle whisper of awareness drifts through your sleeping mind. Wait, you think, this is a dream. And in that moment of recognition, something extraordinary happens. You don't wake up. Instead, you remain suspended in that liminal space between sleeping and waking, conscious within your unconsciousness, aware within your dream. Lucid dreaming represents one of the most fascinating states of human consciousness, a hybrid experience where the dreamer maintains metacognitive awareness while remaining fully immersed in the dream world. It's as if you've been granted backstage access to your own mind's theater production, able to observe and sometimes even direct the performance while it unfolds around you. Scientists define lucid dreaming as a state where the dreamer possesses some degree of awareness that they are dreaming, often accompanied by the ability to exert some control over the dream narrative or environment. But this clinical definition barely captures the wonder of the experience itself. To be lucid in a dream is to exist simultaneously as both the audience and the performer, the observer and the observed, the dreamer and the dream. The neuroscience of lucid dreaming reveals a remarkable ballet of brain activity. During regular REM sleep, As we've discussed, the prefrontal cortex, your brain's center for logical thinking and self awareness, typically shows reduced activity. But in lucid dreams, something fascinating occurs. Certain areas of the prefrontal cortex, particularly regions associated with self reflection and metacognition, show increased activation compared to non lucid REM sleep. It's as if your brain manages to partially wake up its internal observer while keeping the rest of the dreaming machinery running smoothly. Brain imaging studies have revealed this unique neural signature, a pattern of activity that's neither fully awake nor completely asleep, but something beautifully in between. The precuneus, a region involved in self awareness and consciousness, also shows heightened activity during lucid dreams, supporting the idea that these experiences involve a genuine shift in the dreamer's state of awareness. What makes lucid dreaming even more remarkable is that some individuals can actually communicate from within their dreams. In sleep laboratories, trained lucid dreamers have been able to signal their awareness by performing predetermined eye movements, moving their eyes left, right, left in specific patterns that can be detected by monitoring equipment. It's a form of communication that bridges two entirely different states of consciousness, a message sent from the dream world to the waking world. The experience of becoming lucid within a dream can happen in various ways. Sometimes it's triggered by recognizing dream signs, those recurring elements or impossibilities that with practice can serve as cues that you're dreaming. You might notice that you can read text normally, then look away and back to find the words have changed completely. Or you might realize you're flying without any means of propulsion, or find yourself in conversation with someone who passed away years ago. Other times, lucidity emerges from the sheer bizarreness of dream content. Your rational mind, even in its diminished dream state, occasionally manages to pipe up with a quiet observation that something isn't quite right about your current circumstances. This moment of recognition can be the key that unlocks awareness within the dream. There are also techniques that some people use to cultivate lucid dreaming, though success varies greatly among individuals. Reality testing involves regularly questioning whether you're dreaming throughout your waking hours, examining your hands, looking at clocks, or reading text to check for the inconsistencies that often appear in dreams. The idea is that by making this questioning a habit during waking life, you'll eventually perform the same reality checks within a dream and recognize the telltale signs that you're not in ordinary reality. The wake back to bed technique involves waking up after several hours of sleep, staying awake for a short period while focusing on the intention to become lucid, then returning to sleep. This method takes advantage of the fact that REM periods become longer and more frequent toward the morning hours, increasing the likelihood of entering a dream state while maintaining some degree of conscious intention. Mnemonic induction techniques involve repeatedly telling yourself as you fall asleep that you will recognize when you're dreaming. It's a form of mental programming, an attempt to plant a seed of awareness that might bloom within the dream state. Some practitioners combine this with visualization, imagining themselves becoming lucid in a dream and rehearsing what they might do with that awareness. For those who do experience lucid dreams, the possibilities can feel limitless. In the dream world, freed from the constraints of physics and social convention, You might choose to fly over vast landscapes, explore impossible architectures, or engage in conversations with aspects of your own psyche. Some lucid dreamers use their awareness to practice skills, rehearse presentations, or work through personal challenges in a consequence free environment. The therapeutic potential of lucid dreaming has captured the attention of researchers and clinicians alike. For individuals who suffer from recurring nightmares, particularly those related to trauma or anxiety, learning to become lucid within distressing dreams can provide a sense of agency and control. Imagine being chased by a frightening figure in a nightmare, then realizing you're dreaming and choosing to turn around and face your pursuer, or transforming the scary scenario into something benign or even pleasant. Some therapists work with clients to develop lucid dreaming skills specifically for nightmare intervention. The process often involves imagery rehearsal during waking hours, mentally rehearsing alternative endings to recurring nightmares, then attempting to implement these changes if lucidity occurs within the actual dream. While not everyone can achieve reliable lucid dreaming, for those who can, it offers a unique form of self therapy, a way to actively engage with and potentially transform distressing dream content. Creative individuals have long been fascinated by the possibilities that lucid dreaming offers for artistic and intellectual exploration. In the dream state, unbound by the usual rules of logic and physics, the mind can explore combinations of ideas, images, and concepts that might never occur during waking thought. Some artists, writers, and inventors have reported using lucid dreams as workshops for creativity, spaces where they can experiment with ideas, visualize complex concepts, or simply play with possibilities in ways that might inform their waking creative work. The phenomenon of shared dreaming, while not scientifically verified, represents another intriguing aspect of dream consciousness that some lucid dreamers report experiencing. These accounts, while anecdotal, describe instances where two or more people claim to have shared the elements of the same dream experience. While mainstream science remains skeptical of such claims, they point to the deep human desire for connection and shared experience that extends even into our most private mental spaces. Children often experience lucid dreams more frequently than adults, possibly because their reality testing abilities are still developing, making them more likely to accept unusual dream scenarios while simultaneously maintaining some awareness of their nature. As we age and our logical reality checking faculties become more sophisticated, we may become less likely to achieve lucidity in dreams, though individual variation is enormous. Cultural attitudes toward lucid dreaming vary dramatically across different societies and traditions. Some indigenous cultures have long recognized and cultivated dream awareness as a spiritual practice, viewing lucid dreams as opportunities for healing, guidance, or communication with spiritual realms. Tibetan Buddhist traditions include sophisticated practices for maintaining awareness during dream states, viewing such skills as preparation for navigating the intermediate states of consciousness that, according to their beliefs, occur after death. In contrast, Western culture has traditionally paid less attention to dreams in general and lucid dreaming in particular, though this is changing as scientific research reveals more about these fascinating states of consciousness. The growing interest in lucid dreaming reflects a broader cultural curiosity about consciousness, meditation, and the untapped potentials of the human mind. The relationship between lucid dreaming and other altered states of consciousness continues to intrigue researchers. Some studies suggest that people who meditate regularly may be more likely to experience lucid dreams, possibly because meditation practices develop the kind of metacognitive awareness that can carry over into dream states. Similarly, individuals who practice mindfulness during waking hours sometimes report increased dream awareness, as if the habit of observing one's mental states naturally extends into sleep. The question of whether lucid dreaming represents a distinct state of consciousness or simply a variation of normal REM sleep remains a subject of scientific debate. Brain activity during lucid dreams shows characteristics of both waking and sleeping states, suggesting that consciousness might be more fluid and multidimensional than we typically assume. These findings challenge simple binary notions of being either awake or asleep, conscious or unconscious, suggesting instead that awareness exists on a spectrum with many possible variations. Sleep paralysis, that sometimes frightening experience where consciousness returns before the body's ability to move, shares some interesting connections with lucid dreaming. Both states involve unusual combinations of sleep and wake characteristics, and some individuals report transitioning between sleep paralysis and lucid dreaming. Understanding these connections might provide insights into the flexible nature of consciousness and the various ways that sleep and wake states can combine and interact. The study of lucid dreaming has also contributed to our understanding of the nature of self awareness itself. The fact that some aspect of conscious observation can persist even during the altered state of dreaming suggests that self awareness might be more fundamental and persistent than previously thought. It raises intriguing questions about the relationship between consciousness and brain states, and whether awareness might be a more basic property of mind than the specific contents of that awareness. Not everyone experiences lucid dreams, and among those who do, the frequency and clarity of these experiences vary enormously. Some individuals report having lucid dreams regularly throughout their lives, while others might experience them only occasionally or not at all. This variation suggests that lucid dreaming ability might be influenced by factors we don't yet fully understand, possibly including genetics, personality traits, sleep patterns, or other individual differences. The ethics of lucid dreaming research present interesting challenges for scientists studying these phenomena. How do you study subjective experiences that occur in private, altered states of consciousness? Researchers must rely heavily on first person reports, which can be influenced by expectation, memory distortions, and the inherent difficulty of accurately recalling and describing dream experiences. Despite these challenges, the field continues to advance, with new technologies offering increasingly sophisticated ways to monitor and potentially influence dream states. Some researchers are exploring whether external stimuli, carefully timed light cues, sounds, or even electrical stimulation might be able to trigger lucidity in dreams without waking the sleeper. As we contemplate the mystery of lucid dreaming, we're reminded once again of the remarkable flexibility and creativity of human consciousness. The fact that awareness can persist and even exert some control within the altered reality of dreams, suggests depths of mental capability that we're only beginning to explore and understand. Tonight, as you settle into sleep, you might find yourself wondering whether you'll encounter that magical moment of recognition within a dream, that gentle awakening of awareness within the sleeping mind. Whether or not you experience lucidity, remember that every dream represents a remarkable feat of consciousness, a nightly demonstration of your mind's ability to create rich, meaningful experiences from the raw materials of memory, emotion, and imagination. The phenomenon of lucid dreaming serves as a beautiful reminder that consciousness is far more nuanced and multifaceted than our everyday experience might suggest. It hints at possibilities for awareness and control that extend beyond our ordinary waking lives, offering glimpses into the untapped potential that might lie dormant within the sleeping mind. In the grand tapestry of human consciousness, lucid dreams represent some of the most vibrant and intriguing threads, experiences that blur the boundaries between the possible and impossible, between control and surrender, between the observer and the observed. They remind us that even in sleep, even in our most private and subjective experiences, the human mind continues to surprise us with its capacity for awareness, creativity, and wonder. As we continue our exploration of the dreaming mind, let's turn our attention to the darker corners of the sleep landscape, to those dreams that arrive not as gentle adventures or creative workshops, but as unwelcome visitors bearing gifts of fear, anxiety, and distress. Nightmares, those dreams that can jolt us awake with racing hearts and lingering unease, represent another fascinating facet of our nocturnal mental lives. Everyone has experienced a nightmare at some point. Those dreams that feel less like entertainment and more like endurance tests for the sleeping mind. You might find yourself being chased through endless corridors by an unseen pursuer, falling through space with no hope of landing safely, or facing some terrible loss or catastrophe that feels utterly real until the moment you wake up, gasping and disoriented in the safety of your own bed. Nightmares are fundamentally different from ordinary dreams, not because of their content alone, but because of their emotional intensity and the distress they cause. While regular dreams might be strange, illogical, or even mildly unpleasant, nightmares are characterized by their ability to evoke strong negative emotions, fear, terror, anxiety, sadness, or helplessness that can persist even after waking. From a neurological perspective, nightmares occur during REM sleep, just like most vivid dreams, but they involve heightened activity in the brain's emotional centers, particularly the amygdala. This increased emotional processing creates dreams that feel more threatening, more urgent, and more personally significant than typical dream content. Your brain's alarm system, designed to alert you to danger and prepare you for fight or flight responses, activates within the dream, creating experiences that can feel as real and threatening as actual dangerous situations. The content of nightmares often reflects our deepest fears and anxieties, both conscious and unconscious. Common nightmare themes include being chased or pursued, falling or losing control, being trapped or unable to escape, experiencing the death or loss of loved ones, or finding oneself in situations of vulnerability or exposure. These themes appear across cultures and age groups, suggesting that certain fears might be fundamental to the human experience. Children experience nightmares more frequently than adults, which makes sense when you consider how many new and potentially frightening experiences they encounter as they learn about the world. A child's developing mind is constantly processing new information about safety, danger, social relationships, and their place in the world. Nightmares might represent one way that young minds work through these complex learning processes, even though the experience can be distressing for both children and their parents. The relationship between waking life stress and nightmare frequency is well established in research. People going through difficult periods, major life changes, or traumatic experiences often report increased nightmare activity. It's as if the sleeping mind, overwhelmed by difficult emotions or situations, processes these challenges through intensely emotional dream scenarios. Post traumatic stress disorder presents a particularly clear example of how waking experiences can influence nightmare content. Individuals with PTSD often experience recurring nightmares that replay elements of their traumatic experiences, sometimes with literal accuracy and sometimes through symbolic representation. These trauma related nightmares can be especially distressing because they can make sleep itself feel unsafe, creating a cycle where the fear of nightmares leads to sleep avoidance, which in turn can worsen overall mental health and increase vulnerability to further nightmares. Interestingly, some medications can influence nightmare frequency and intensity. Certain antidepressants, blood pressure medications, and other drugs can affect sleep architecture and neurotransmitter levels in ways that make nightmares more likely. Even some foods, particularly those eaten close to bedtime, might influence dream content, though the mechanisms behind these effects are not fully understood. The phenomenon of recurring nightmares presents a particularly intriguing aspect of dream psychology. Some individuals experience the same nightmare scenario repeatedly, sometimes for months or even years. These recurring dreams might represent the mind's persistent attempt to process unresolved emotional material, repeatedly returning to the same symbolic or literal content until some form of resolution or integration occurs. Sleep terrors, sometimes confused with nightmares, represent a different phenomenon altogether. Unlike nightmares, which occur during REM sleep and are usually remembered upon waking, sleep terrors happen during deep, non REM sleep and typically leave no memory of the experience. During a sleep terror, a person might sit up, scream, appear terrified, and be completely unresponsive to attempts at comfort or awakening. These episodes are more common in children and usually resolve on their own as the child's sleep system matures. The treatment of nightmare disorders has evolved significantly as our understanding of sleep and dreams has advanced. Traditional approaches might have focused primarily on the symbolic interpretation of nightmare content, but modern treatments often emphasize practical techniques for reducing nightmare frequency and managing their emotional impact. Imagery rehearsal therapy has emerged as one of the most effective treatments for chronic nightmares. This technique involves working with clients during waking hours to identify recurring nightmare themes, then consciously creating alternative, less threatening versions of these dreams. Clients practice visualizing these new dream scenarios, essentially rehearsing different outcomes for their nightmare situations. The idea is that by repeatedly imagining more positive or empowering dream scenarios while awake, individuals can influence the content of their actual dreams. The effectiveness of imagery rehearsal therapy suggests something fascinating about the relationship between conscious intention and dream content. It implies that our dreaming minds might be more susceptible to conscious influence than we typically assume, that we might have more agency in shaping our dream experiences than previously thought. Lucid dreaming techniques have also been explored as potential treatments for nightmare disorders. If individuals can learn to recognize when they're dreaming, they might be able to take control of nightmare scenarios, transforming frightening dream situations into more manageable or even empowering experiences. While not everyone can achieve reliable lucidity, for those who can, it offers another tool for dealing with distressing dreams. Progressive muscle relaxation, meditation, and other stress reduction techniques can also help reduce nightmare frequency by addressing the underlying anxiety and stress that often contribute to disturbing dreams. By improving overall sleep quality and reducing general stress levels, these approaches can create conditions that make nightmares less likely to occur. The cultural interpretation of nightmares varies dramatically across different societies and historical periods. Some cultures view nightmares as spiritual attacks or visits from malevolent entities, while others see them as important messages from the subconscious or opportunities for personal growth. These different cultural frameworks can significantly influence how individuals experience and cope with disturbing dreams. In some shamanic traditions, nightmares are viewed as initiatory experiences, challenging dreams that must be faced and overcome as part of spiritual development. Rather than being seen as purely negative experiences, they're understood as necessary tests or learning opportunities that can lead to greater wisdom and personal power. The relationship between nightmares and creativity presents another intriguing area of exploration. Many artists, writers, and filmmakers have drawn inspiration from their nightmare experiences, transforming frightening dream content into powerful creative works. The intense emotions and vivid imagery of nightmares can provide rich material for artistic expression, suggesting that even our most disturbing dreams might serve constructive purposes in the broader context of human experience. Sleep paralysis, while technically distinct from nightmares, often accompanies frightening dream experiences and deserves mention in this context. During sleep paralysis, individuals regain consciousness while their bodies remain in the temporary paralysis that normally accompanies REM sleep. This can create a terrifying experience where the person is aware but unable to move, often accompanied by hallucinations or the sense of a threatening presence in the room. Historically, sleep paralysis has been interpreted through various cultural lenses, from demonic visitation to alien abduction experiences. Understanding the neurological basis of sleep paralysis, the temporary mismatch between consciousness and muscle control systems can help demystify these frightening experiences and reduce the additional anxiety that cultural misinterpretations might create. The study of nightmares has contributed significantly to our understanding of the relationship between emotion and dreaming. The fact that emotional intensity can so dramatically alter dream experiences suggests that dreams are far more than random neural activity or simple memory consolidation. They appear to be deeply connected to our emotional lives, serving as spaces where our fears, anxieties, and unresolved feelings can be explored and potentially processed. Gender differences in nightmare experiences have been noted in research, with women generally reporting more frequent nightmares than men. The reasons for this difference are not entirely clear, but they might relate to hormonal influences, different stress responses, or cultural factors that affect how dreams are remembered and reported. Age related changes in nightmare frequency follow interesting patterns. While children experience nightmares more frequently than adults, nightmare frequency typically decreases with age, possibly reflecting the mind's increasing ability to process and integrate difficult experiences through other means. However, older adults sometimes experience increased nightmare activity, particularly in connection with medications, health concerns, or major bouts life transitions. The relationship between nightmares and physical health presents another area of ongoing research. Some studies suggest connections between nightmare frequency and various health conditions, including heart disease, sleep disorders, and autoimmune conditions. While the causal relationships are not always clear, these connections highlight the complex ways that mental and physical health interact through sleep and dreaming. Understanding nightmares also contributes to our broader appreciation of the adaptive functions that dreams might serve. Even frightening dreams might play important roles in emotional regulation, stress processing, and psychological resilience. By providing safe spaces to experience and work through threatening scenarios, nightmares might actually help prepare us for real world challenges, even though the experience itself can be unpleasant. The phenomenon of nightmare contagion, where hearing about someone else's nightmare can influence your own dream content, speaks to the social and suggestible nature of dreaming. Our dreams are not created in isolation, but are influenced by the stories, images, and experiences we encounter in our waking lives, including the dream experiences of others. As we consider the role of nightmares in the landscape of human consciousness, we're reminded that not all aspects of mental life are pleasant or easy to understand. Nightmares represent the shadow side of dreaming, the places where our minds work through difficult material that might be too challenging to process during waking hours. Yet, even in their darkness, nightmares serve important functions, providing insights into our fears and anxieties, offering opportunities for emotional processing and growth, and reminding us of the incredible range of experiences that human consciousness can create. They are part of the full spectrum of dreaming, necessary counterpoints to the lighter, more pleasant dreams that also visit us in sleep. Tonight, if dreams of a challenging nature should visit you, remember that they too are part of your mind's remarkable capacity for experience and processing. Even the most frightening nightmare is, ultimately, a creation of your own consciousness, a story told by your sleeping mind as it works to understand and integrate the complexities of human experience. The darkness of nightmares makes the light of peaceful dreams all the more precious, and both together contribute to the rich, complex tapestry of experiences that make up the mysterious, beautiful phenomenon we call dreaming. As we continue our gentle journey through the landscapes of the dreaming mind, let's turn our attention to a question that might seem wonderfully whimsical, yet carries profound scientific significance. Do animals dream? It's a query that has tickled the curiosity of pet owners for generations, watching their sleeping dogs paddle invisible waters with twitching paws, or observing cats whose whiskers flutter as they emit soft chirps into the darkness of slumber. The answer, as science has gradually revealed, appears to be a resounding yes, though the dreams of our animal companions likely differ from ours in ways both subtle and profound. This discovery opens up entire worlds of wonder about consciousness, memory, and the shared experiences that connect all sleeping creatures across the vast tapestry of life on Earth. When researchers first began seriously investigating animal dreams, they faced the obvious challenge that their subjects couldn't simply describe their nocturnal adventures over morning coffee. Instead, scientists had to become detectives of sleep, looking for clues in brain waves, eye movements, and the telltale behaviors that accompany different stages of rest. What they discovered was remarkable. Nearly all mammals studied show clear signs of REM sleep, that stage we've come to associate with the most vivid human dreams. Birds, too, display REM like sleep patterns, and even some reptiles show hints of similar brain activity during rest. It seems that dreaming, or at least something very much like it, is far more widespread in the animal kingdom than we ever imagined. The evidence becomes particularly compelling when we observe sleeping animals more closely. That golden retriever, lying by the fireplace, legs moving rhythmically as soft woofs escape her sleeping lips, appears to be experiencing something remarkably similar to what we might call dreams. Her brain shows the characteristic rapid eye movements, the temporary muscle paralysis that keeps her from fully acting out her dreams, and the patterns of neural activity that mirror human REM sleep in fascinating ways. Laboratory studies have provided even more convincing evidence. Researchers studying rats found that the same neural patterns that fire when the animals navigate mazes during waking hours replay during their REM sleep, almost like watching a recording of their daily adventures. It's as if these small creatures spend their sleeping hours mentally rehearsing their routes through the world, strengthening memories, and perhaps even exploring new possibilities for navigation. Birds present particularly intriguing cases for dream research. Songbirds, like zebra finches, show remarkable patterns during sleep, their brains replaying the neural sequences associated with their daytime singing. Young birds learning new songs seem to practice these melodies in their sleep, their sleeping brains running through the complex patterns of notes they've been working to master during waking hours. It's a beautiful image, isn't it? Tiny creatures dreaming in music, perfecting their art while the world around them sleeps. The content of animal dreams, while we can only speculate, likely reflects the experiences and concerns most important to each species. A cat might dream of stalking through tall grass, following scents and shadows in landscapes built from memory and instinct. A horse might gallop through dream meadows, feeling the rhythm of movement and the companionship of the herd. A dolphin might navigate dream oceans, using echolocation to explore underwater territories that exist only in the realm of sleep. What's particularly fascinating is how the complexity of dreaming seems to correlate with the complexity of each animal's waking life and social relationships. Primates, our closest evolutionary relatives, show dream patterns remarkably similar to our own, with extended periods of REM sleep and behaviors that suggest rich, complex dream experiences. Elephants, those gentle giants known for their sophisticated social bonds and remarkable memories, also display clear signs of dreaming, perhaps revisiting in sleep the intricate relationships and experiences that define their waking lives. Even domestic animals seem to dream in ways that reflect their relationships with humans. Dogs who spend their days in close companionship with their human families might very well dream about walks in the park, games of fetch, or simply the comfort of lying close to their beloved people. Cats, those mysterious and independent creatures, might dream of hunting adventures or sunny spots for afternoon naps, their sleeping minds processing the experiences that bring them satisfaction and security. The evolutionary implications of animal dreaming are profound and beautiful. If dreaming serves important functions like memory consolidation, emotional processing, and skill rehearsal in humans, it likely serves similar purposes across many species. This suggests that dreaming isn't just a quirky accident of human consciousness, but rather a fundamental feature of complex nervous systems, a tool that evolution has preserved and refined across millions of years because of its crucial benefits for learning and survival. Consider the young fox kit learning to hunt, or the baby elephant mastering the social dynamics of the herd. Their dreams might serve as safe practice spaces, virtual environments where they can rehearse important skills without the risks associated with real world learning. In dreams, the fox kit can perfect its pouncing technique without alerting prey, and the young elephant can navigate social situations without facing real consequences for mistakes. The emotional lives of animals, long underestimated by science, find another avenue of expression through dreaming. Just as human dreams often process the emotional experiences of our days, animal dreams might serve similar functions, helping creatures work through the stresses, fears, and joys of their daily lives. A rescued animal adjusting to a new home might dream about past experiences while also exploring the safety and comfort of their new environment. There's something deeply moving about recognizing that we share the experience of dreaming with so many other creatures. When you watch your pet sleeping peacefully, perhaps with a gentle smile playing across their features or their paws moving in the rhythm of dream adventures, you're witnessing a connection that spans species and speaks to the universal nature of consciousness and experience. The study of animal dreams also raises fascinating questions about the nature of consciousness itself. If dreaming is indeed a marker of complex inner experience, then the widespread presence of dreamlike sleep across the animal kingdom suggests that consciousness, in various forms, is far more prevalent in nature than we once believed. Each sleeping creature becomes a universe of private experience, creating its own nightly stories in the theater of the dreaming mind. Wild animals likely dream about the landscapes they inhabit, the seasonal changes they navigate, the social dynamics of their communities. A wolf might dream of running with the pack through moonlit forests, while a whale might dream of diving through the deep blue vastness of the ocean, their sleeping minds exploring the territories that define their existence. The research into animal dreaming continues to evolve, with new technologies allowing scientists to peer ever more deeply into the sleeping minds of various species. Advanced brain imaging techniques reveal the intricate patterns of activity that accompany different sleep stages across different animals, painting an increasingly detailed picture of how widespread and sophisticated animal dreaming truly is. What emerges from this research is a vision of Earth as a planet where countless creatures participate nightly in the universal experience of dreaming. From the smallest mammals to the largest whales, from songbirds perfecting their melodies to primates processing their complex social relationships, the world is filled with sleeping minds creating their own private adventures in the landscapes of sleep. This recognition carries with it a sense of kinship and wonder. We are not alone in our nightly journeys through the realm of dreams. Across forests and fields, in homes and wild places, millions of creatures are engaging in their own versions of the mysterious process we call dreaming. They too experience the strange alchemy that transforms memory, emotion, and neural activity into the rich, often bizarre narratives that populate the sleeping mind. As you settle into sleep tonight, perhaps you'll find comfort in knowing that you're joining a vast community of dreamers, a fellowship that extends far beyond the human world to encompass creatures great and small, all of us participating in the ancient universal rhythm of sleep and dreams. Somewhere nearby, a cat might be dreaming of sunny windowsills, a dog of joyful reunions, a bird of soaring through endless skies. The dreams of animals don't remind us that consciousness, in its many forms, is a gift shared widely throughout the natural world. Each sleeping creature is proof that the capacity for rich inner experience extends far beyond our own species, creating a tapestry of dreaming consciousness that spans the entire community of life on our planet. Tonight, as you drift toward your own dreams, you might imagine yourself as part of this vast, sleeping world, connected to countless other dreamers through the shared mystery of consciousness, exploring itself in the gentle darkness of sleep. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it? That in dreams, we join a chorus of sleeping minds, each one creating its own unique song in the universal symphony of sleep. The revelation that animals dream opens up new frontiers in our understanding of consciousness, memory, and the profound connections that bind all living creatures together in the shared experience of sleep and dreams. It's yet another reminder that the more we learn about the sleeping mind, the more wonderful and mysterious it becomes, and the more we appreciate our place in the great community of dreamers that inhabits our remarkable planet. In this recognition lies both humility and wonder, an appreciation for the rich inner lives of the creatures who share our world, and a deeper understanding of the universal nature of the dreaming mind. Whether human or animal, we are all travelers in the landscapes of sleep, all participants in the ancient mystery of consciousness, exploring itself through the beautiful ephemeral stories we call dreams. As we reach the gentle conclusion of our nocturnal voyage through the mysterious realms of the dreaming mind, perhaps it's fitting to pause here in this quiet moment and reflect on the extraordinary journey we've shared together. We've wandered through the intricate architecture of sleep, explored the neural symphonies that compose our dreams, and marveled at the universal nature of these nightly adventures that unite all sleeping creatures under the same starlit sky. What strikes me most profoundly as we prepare to part ways is how dreams serve as a bridge between the known and unknowable, between the measurable patterns of brain activity and the deeply personal, often inexplicable experiences that visit us each night. Science has revealed so much about the when and where and how of dreaming, yet the essential why remains beautifully, mysteriously elusive, like trying to capture moonlight in a mason jar. Dreams remind us that consciousness itself is far more fluid and multifaceted than our waking minds might assume. In those precious hours of sleep, we become travelers in impossible worlds, storytellers crafting narratives that defy logic yet feel profoundly meaningful, artists painting with the colors of memory and emotion on canvases that exist only in the private theaters of our minds. The fact that we spend roughly 6 years of our lives dreaming speaks to something fundamental about human nature. These aren't wasted hours or meaningless neural static, but rather essential journeys into the deeper landscapes of the self. Whether dreams serve to consolidate memories, process emotions, rehearse for future challenges, or simply provide a space for the mind to play and explore, they represent one of the most intimate and universal aspects of being human. Tonight, as you settle into your own bed and prepare to surrender once more to sleep's gentle embrace, remember that you're about to embark on an adventure that's uniquely yours, yet connects you to every other dreaming soul on this planet. Your sleeping mind will weave together the threads of your day, your memories, your hopes, and fears, creating stories that exist nowhere else in the universe except in the sacred privacy of your own consciousness. You might dream of flying over landscapes painted in impossible colors, or find yourself having tea with a childhood friend in a kitchen that's somehow both your grandmother's and completely unfamiliar. You might solve a problem that's been puzzling you for weeks, or simply drift through abstract experiences that feel meaningful in ways you can't quite articulate upon waking. Whatever form your dreams take, they will be yours alone, gifts from your unconscious mind to your sleeping self. If you've found comfort in this gentle exploration, if these quiet moments of wonder have brought you peace or sparked your curiosity about the mysteries that unfold each night behind your closed eyelids, I'm deeply grateful you chose to spend this time with me. Your presence here, in this sleepy corner of discovery, helps create a community of curious souls who find beauty in the questions as much as in the answers. The study of dreams continues to evolve, with each new discovery revealing fresh layers of complexity and wonder. Scientists are developing increasingly sophisticated ways to peer into the sleeping mind, to decode the patterns of activity that give rise to our nightly adventures. Perhaps someday we'll understand dreams as completely as we understand the mechanics of breathing or the circulation of blood. But somehow I suspect that no matter how much we learn, dreams will always retain their essential mystery, their ability to surprise and enchant us with their creativity and depth. Dreams also serve as gentle reminders of the incredible capacity of the human mind for healing, creativity, and connection. In our dreams, we process grief and find comfort, work through conflicts and discover solutions, explore possibilities, and rehearse courage. They offer us spaces where the impossible becomes possible, where we can fly without wings, speak with loved ones we've lost, and explore versions of ourselves we might never encounter in waking life. As you drift toward sleep tonight, perhaps you'll carry with you a sense of anticipation for the adventures that await in the realm of dreams. Your mind is preparing even now to create experiences that will be vivid, meaningful, and entirely your own. Whether you remember them tomorrow morning or they fade like mist in the dawn, they will have served their purpose, contributing to the ongoing story of who you are and who you're becoming. The future of dream research holds tantalizing possibilities that would have seemed like pure fantasy just decades ago. Scientists are now exploring ways to influence dream content through gentle external cues, perhaps one day allowing us to guide our sleeping minds toward more peaceful narratives or creative explorations. Imagine being able to request a dream about soaring through clouds or revisiting a cherished memory, like placing an order with your unconscious mind before drifting off to sleep. There's also the fascinating prospect of dream sharing, though we're still in the earliest stages of understanding how such a thing might be possible. Researchers are investigating whether the neural patterns of dreams might someday be decoded and translated into images or even shared experiences. While we're nowhere near achieving such science fiction scenarios, the mere possibility reminds us that consciousness and dreaming may hold surprises we haven't yet imagined. What seems certain is that dreams will continue to serve as windows into the deepest aspects of human nature. They reveal our fears and desires, our creativity, and our struggles, often in ways that are more honest and unfiltered than our waking thoughts. In dreams, we encounter versions of ourselves that might surprise us, aspects of our personalities that emerge only when the conscious mind's careful supervision relaxes its grip. The healing potential of dreams deserves special mention as we conclude our journey together. For those who suffer from recurring nightmares or trauma related sleep disturbances, new therapeutic approaches offer hope and healing. The discovery that we can sometimes influence dream content through conscious intention has opened doors to treatments that seemed impossible just a generation ago. Dreams, rather than being passive experiences we simply endure, are increasingly understood as landscapes we might learn to navigate with greater awareness and purpose. There's also something profoundly democratic about dreaming. Regardless of our circumstances, education, or resources, we all have access to this nightly theater of the mind. Dreams don't require tickets or special equipment. They ask nothing of us except that we sleep. In a world that often feels divided by differences, dreams remind us of our shared humanity, our common participation in this most mysterious aspect of consciousness. As the boundaries between neuroscience and technology continue to blur, we may witness developments in dream research that challenge our fundamental assumptions about privacy, consciousness, and the nature of subjective experience. These advances will likely raise important ethical questions about the sanctity of our inner lives and the rights we have to the contents of our sleeping minds. But perhaps most importantly, dreams will continue to enchant us with their ability to transcend the ordinary limitations of time, space, and possibility. They offer us nightly proof that the human mind is capable of creating worlds as vast and detailed as any external reality, populated with characters as complex as any we might encounter in waking life, filled with emotions as powerful as any we experience in our daily existence. And so, as you prepare to close your eyes tonight, carry with you a sense of gratitude for this remarkable gift your brain gives you each evening. Whether your dreams tonight are gentle and restorative, adventurous and exciting, or strange and symbolic, they will be part of the ongoing conversation between your conscious and unconscious mind, contributing to the rich tapestry of your inner life. In this quiet moment, as our exploration draws to its gentle close, I find myself thinking about all the questions we haven't asked, all the mysteries that remain beautifully unsolved. Dreams, for all our scientific understanding, continue to remind us that there are aspects of human experience that resist neat categorization, phenomena that exist in the spaces between what we can measure and what we can feel. Perhaps that's exactly as it should be. In our age of data and algorithms, of constant connectivity and relentless analysis, dreams offer us something increasingly rare, a space that belongs entirely to us, unmonitored and unmediated. They are the last truly private experiences in an increasingly public world, sanctuaries of solitude where we can simply be without performance or explanation. The children listening to this might grow up in a world where the mysteries of dreams have been further unraveled, where the neural codes of sleep have been cracked and translated. But I suspect that even then, even with all our future knowledge, the essential wonder of dreaming will remain intact, because dreams aren't just biological processes to be understood, they're experiences to be lived, stories to be savored, mysteries to be appreciated rather than solved. Tonight, when you lay your head upon your pillow and feel that familiar drowsiness beginning to embrace you, remember that you're about to participate in one of the most ancient and essential rituals of consciousness. Your ancestors dreamed beneath starlit skies, in caves and forests, in palaces and humble dwellings, just as you dream now beneath electric lights and modern ceilings. The content may have changed, but the fundamental experience remains unchanged across millennia. The dreams you'll have tonight are already waiting for you, woven from the threads of today's experiences, yesterday's memories, and tomorrow's possibilities. They may be gentle or challenging, mundane or extraordinary, remembered or forgotten, but they will be undeniably, authentically yours. And in the morning, when you wake to sunlight filtering through your windows, when the dream world fades and the waking world reasserts itself, perhaps you'll carry with you just a whisper of wonder about the journey you've taken, a quiet appreciation for the remarkable mind that crafted those sleeping stories just for you. Thank you for joining me on this gentle voyage through the landscapes of sleep and dreams. May your own dreams be filled with beauty, wonder, and the kind of peace that only comes when consciousness surrenders to the ancient rhythm of rest. Sweet dreams, fellow travelers, until we meet again in the quiet corners where curiosity blooms and wonder whispers its eternal questions into the night.